Hi everybody, welcome back to Living Traditions Homestead. Well, it is officially spring and somebody also notified the chickens. Actually, all the laying types of birds that we have here on our homestead, they all figured out that it's spring all at once and all of a sudden I have 14 dozen eggs in the refrigerator. What am I going to do? Well, we do sell some of our eggs. We also give a lot of our eggs to our family members that live in our area, but I still have 14 dozen eggs in the refrigerator. So it is actually a perfect time for me to share with you a recipe, actually two very similar recipes that Kevin and I love to make in the springtime to use up a lot of these eggs. We're going to be doing two recipes today, like I said. Both of them are pickled eggs. One is my favorite, spicy jalapeno pickled eggs, and Kevin's favorite are dill pickled eggs. So stick around, we are going to make them both. They come together very quickly and you're going to love them. For this recipe, we are going to be working with hard-boiled eggs, and so I need to hard boil them. As you may know, using fresh chicken eggs from your homestead, a lot of times when you hard boil them, they're so hard to peel, it makes it not even like worth going through all the trouble, because by the time you're done, half your egg is gone. You've gotten so frustrated and you end up hating the entire process. Well, using an Instant Pot or pressure cooking your eggs into hard-boiled eggs really works for preventing the shells from sticking to your hard-boiled eggs. I don't know what it is, but it is an absolute godsend type of method for working with really fresh eggs. Now today I am going to be hard boiling like as many as I feel comfortable sticking in the Instant Pot, because if there are too many, I'm just going to make like egg salad or deviled eggs or something like that, because this is like the time of year where every meal you eat eggs. So we're just going to have extra eggs. I'm also going to be using eggs from our silky chickens and our Polish crested chickens. They're a smaller egg. You can see how they like move around in the carton. We love to use these smaller eggs for pickled eggs and actually smoked eggs, which are fantastic. So today I have taken out 2 dozen of the silky and Polish crested eggs. They are what I'm going to be using to make our pickled eggs. Now I'm going to wash these up, those that are dirty, and I'm going to get them into the Instant Pot so we can get going on this. Very simple and easy. What I do want to add is that when you're using an Instant Pot, or if you're using some kind of pressure cooker, you do want to have something like a stand or something on the bottom of your Instant Pot to keep them up off the bottom. So I have this one. I actually have a couple different ones. Putting this in here. Once the eggs are clean, I'm going to put them in here, balance them all up the way that they need to be before we get started pressure cooking them. Now some of these eggs are perfectly clean enough to go right in the Instant Pot. So those that are clean, I'm just going to put in there right away. And then I'll clean the others before I put them in to be pressure cooked. That takes care of 1 dozen. Now 2 dozen eggs of the smaller eggs, the silky eggs, fit in here. I did take 2 of them out because they were cracked, and if I put them in there, they would explode during that cooking process. So I'm just going to carefully set these in here. They're all balanced really nicely. I'm going to add 1 cup of water just to the bottom of the eggs. That will create the steam that the pressure cooker needs. And now I put the top on. So I am going to use the method where we allow these to come up to temperature, then cook for 5 minutes, turn it off, let it sit for 5 minutes, and then let out the pressure. After that, we're going to put them right in some cold water, maybe even put some ice in there and let them cool down very quickly. All of these things are what make peeling fresh hard-boiled eggs very easy. All right, while we are waiting for our eggs over there to cool, we're going to get some things prepared to start making these pickled eggs. Now again, we're making 2 different kinds, and I'm going to make 1 quart jar of each. So one will be for the spicy jalapeno pickled eggs and one will be for the dill. So there are a lot of similarities, like I had said earlier, between these 2 recipes, which make it super easy. And so ahead of time, we're just gonna get some of that taken care of. We're gonna add 1 tablespoon of salt to each of these jars. I know it seems like a lot, but it is necessary. Also in each jar, we're going to put 1/2 teaspoon of mustard seeds and 1/2 teaspoon of black peppercorns. Now I buy a lot of my herbs and spices in bulk, like you see. Here's like an entire quart jar of peppercorns, and I buy those from azurestandard.com. I love being able to buy things in bulk from them, and a lot of them are organic, which I love as well. Now here is some dill that we grew out in our garden. One of these jars is going to get a nice helping of this dried dill from the garden, but dill is not going to be in the jalapeno pickled eggs. I don't have an exact measurement of this. I'm just going to put, you know, I'd say a good amount. I'm sorry, I don't have specific measurements. To me, this looks like 2 or 3 flowers worth of the dried seeds. Both of these jars are also going to get 2 cloves of garlic that I'm going to smash and then put in the jars. I like to use these handy silicone garlic peelers, where you just put the clove of garlic inside there and press down with your palm, roll it on the counter, and it takes the peel like right off. Super easy. I'm going to take each one of the cloves of garlic, and with the flat side of my knife, I'm just going to smash those down and put them right in the jar. 2 cloves per quart jar. And the last thing that I'm going to do here before I start peeling the eggs is I'm going to chop up or slice up the hot peppers that I'm going to use in the spicy jalapeno pickled eggs. Now I know that it really takes a lot of spice to actually make the pickled eggs spicy. So I'm actually going to be using jalapeno peppers and serrano peppers. I have 1 gigantic jalapeno pepper that I'm going to be slicing up, but then I also have 3 serrano peppers. In general, serrano peppers are spicier than jalapeno peppers, so I'm hoping that that will do the trick to really give the spicy jalapeno peppers that kick that I'm looking for. Now, I'm not going to be adding these to the jar until I start adding the eggs. Okay, here are the eggs that we're going to peel. Now, I'm not going to give you a lesson on how to peel hard-boiled eggs because I think everybody pretty much knows how. I just want to show you how well this method of hard-boiling eggs works on fresh eggs, basically right from the nesting box, and how easy they are to peel. And I would say 90% or more of the eggs that I peel using this method work out really well. Totally easy to use this method, especially if you are making hard-boiled eggs for deviled eggs and you're taking them somewhere. You don't have to worry about just completely destroying your eggs using this method of hard-boiling them. Just look at how effortlessly these are peeled. Amazing. Now that we have a bunch of these eggs peeled, let's go ahead and start filling these jars. I'm going to start with the spicy jalapeno pickled eggs. I'm going to add some of the pepper slices and then backfill with some of the eggs, and then just go back and forth until this jar is filled up. Now generally, normal sized, or I'd say medium to large size eggs, you'd be able to fit 11 or 12 of them. Because I'm using the smaller eggs, I'm actually not counting. It doesn't matter to me as long as the jar is filled up. But for recipe purposes, you can plan on adding 11 or 12 eggs. Okay, that's probably as many eggs as I'm going to fit in there. I'm just going to shove some more of these pepper pieces in there. All right, and that one is full. Switching over to the dill pickled eggs. Now this is just as easy as just putting the eggs in there. We already have all of the spices and flavorings that we need already in this jar. Here goes the last egg into that jar. They're both completely filled up and they look awesome so far. Now to preserve these eggs, which will be in the refrigerator, we're going to create a pickling solution or a brine. We are going to be using a vinegar, water, salt solution to create our brine. We're going to mix it up, heat it up, and then after we pour it into the jars, these will go in the refrigerator for actually a couple of months. They will be preserved, but there's no way they're going to last that long. We're going to eat them way faster than a couple of months. So both of these are going to be preserved in the same way, but I'm going to be using different vinegars for each one. So we're going to start off again with the jalapeno pickled egg mixture. I'm going to be using apple cider vinegar for this solution. We're going to be combining 1 1/3 cup of apple cider vinegar with 1 1/3 cup of water. I'm going to heat that up and pour that into our jar, which already has the salt in it, if you remember. So that mixed together is going to create its brine, which is going to flavor and pickle / preserve these eggs in the refrigerator. Now I heated up the vinegar solution on the stove top, 50% apple cider vinegar, 50% water, and now I'm just going to pour it over these eggs with all the peppers and the seasonings in it, just carefully. Right up to the top so that I cover all of the eggs. Perfect. It's about a 1/2 inch from the top of the jar. I'm actually going to take a chopstick and just poke it down in there just to release some of the air bubbles that are down there, very similar to like the canning process. This isn't absolutely necessary, but if there's a little bit more room that I can get in this jar to put more of that solution, I want to do that. But that looks about right. That looks about right. Okay, so we have everything in there that we need. I'm just going to use a plastic mason jar cover for this. Again, we're not doing this through the canning process, so I don't need a pop top lid. And I'm going to go ahead and mix around the salt with the vinegar solution, just so all of that is distributed nicely. Creates that nice brine. The nice part about using the hot brine liquid is that it's going to allow all those seasonings to really kind of develop within the brine and really get sucked into those eggs. I could probably just use cold or room temperature, but this is going to help that process, that flavoring process, happen faster. Okay, I'm going to set this aside. Let that cool, and let's make the vinegar solution for the dill pickled eggs. Now this vinegar solution is going to have the same proportions of vinegar to water as the solution for the spicy pickled eggs. So 1 1/3 cup of white vinegar this time. And 1 1/3 cups of water. Now, Really, the difference between the white vinegar and the apple cider vinegar, it's just a flavor difference. You could use either of these types of vinegars in either of these types of pickled eggs and it would be just fine. I really just prefer the flavor of the apple cider vinegar, and I think that the dill pickle vinegar solution will be better with white vinegar. Okay, so let's get this heated up as well. Shake them up. Mainly just to mix that salt in here. You can see a color difference because of the salt. I'm using Redmond's real salt, and that's kind of a pink salt. That's the color difference. Both types of the pickled eggs are completely finished. I'm just gonna wait for them to come to room temperature, and then I'll put them in the refrigerator. Now, technically you can eat these right away or even within a few hours, but I think it's best to wait to start eating these for at least 3 days so that all of the flavors can get incorporated into the eggs. And like I said earlier, these are going to last and be well preserved and safe to eat for a couple of months in the refrigerator. Now you may be wondering, how do we eat these pickled eggs? Like, what do we do with them? I think for some people, eating pickled eggs is just kind of a mystery. Really, what we'll do most likely is just have these along with our lunch. We'll have a couple of the pickled eggs with a couple pieces of cheese, maybe a couple pieces of bacon, maybe some veggies with a little of dip, and this will be wonderful. But it's also great just as a high protein snack. And I'll tell you that both of these would be fantastic as a base for deviled eggs or even egg salad. Both would be fantastic. So you guys, if you enjoyed this video and if you're interested in making either of these, I'll make sure to put the recipe in the description below. If you think you know someone else who would be interested in making these to start using up all the eggs in the refrigerator, make sure you share this on all your social media. Until next time, thank you so much for stopping by our homestead. Take care and God bless.